the first thing you're going to need is a watch list manager. Okay, and between this and the actual adding of the alert, you don't really need it so often. But as you can see here, I have my two watch lists. Right, so I have an inside 5-minute candle watch list, and then a watch list for an inside 15-minute candle.
So, but for a new user, these would be empty. I mean, you wouldn't have anything there.
Exactly. Yeah. So a new user, you would say demo, let's say, where we'll do 5 min. Okay. And we add this. And then, so that's our watch list. And now what we need to do is we need to add a bunch of alerts to attach to that watch list. So we're going to go into the add alert right here. Okay. And let's build an alert. So, as always, I guess if you're not a Trade Unafraid user, you can, or if you are, this will be familiar, but you can save the template. Let's call this 5-minute breaks. Okay. And we are going to attach a watch list to it, and you can type in as many symbols as you want. So I personally have around 50 of my own list, but you can really do, say, AMD, AMC, Apple, NVIDIA, etc. You can do as many as you want. Shouldn't say as many as you want. I personally am running between around 50 to 60, and I think that can be exceeded. But yeah, so you choose your direction. Are we looking for longs? Are we looking for shorts? Okay, so let's say we're going to go with long, and we're going to set on repeating, which means that just because it triggers once doesn't mean it goes away. It'll continue to come back. So, let's say you have a 2-2 at 9:40. You don't want to stop watching. Let's say 2-2 on AMD at 9:40. We don't want to stop watching for 2-2s on AMD. Right, we're going to, it will happen, it will occur, and then the system will start over again, watching for the next 2-2.
Okay.
Okay, and now we're going to choose our setup, which is going to be our candle patterns. And we're going to go for 2 down, 2 up on the 5-minute candle. And, you can utilize it however you want. I'm sure that many people would want to add a full time frame continuity filter. I'm saying that, like say, if I want to do, let's say, do 2 down, 2 up on the 60, as long as the 60 is green, you receive alerts for that. That's how you can do that for this. Okay, so this is essentially our form, and we're going to save it. Okay, and now from now on, if we ever want to utilize these alerts, it's right here for us. You click it, and you can load it in with this green button right here.
Okay.
Okay, so is that a good rundown of how to set up an alert and everything?
Yeah, so, but you filled it out, but you haven't actually utilized it, right?
Right, I have not utilized it yet.
Okay.
So I'm going to go and utilize the one I personally use.
Okay.
Okay, so that it's more of a real process about what I'm actually doing.
Okay, and here you have long and short.
Exactly. So for myself, I'm looking for any break of the 5-minute inside candle.
Okay.
So longer, short, etc. Exactly. And here are all my symbols.
Okay.
That took a long time. So we're going to create the alerts.
So I do have one question about the candle pattern. In Trade Unafraid, you can have multiple candle patterns. It looks like there's only one here.
Yeah, just for alerts, we're starting with one.
Okay.
And we can obviously add to that. Yeah. But we're starting for one, and it's easy to, you can have one here for 2-2s, another alert section, which we're about to get into for inside breaks. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we have our alerts, we have our watch list, right? And essentially, at this point, these two are not really so important, right? And you can really remove them if you want. I'm just going to leave it up here. We'll have to move it actually after I'll have to move that later. So I'll move that in a second.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to add an alerts section. Okay. And I personally like to set it up so I have my alerts on the right, and then my notifications on my alerts and my notifications on the right, and then the charts on the left. So I'm going to set up my alerts here. I'm going to choose my watch list. So let's say the inside minute 5 candle, right? And you see, for example, on the current chart, right, in the current market, Mara and EA are about to go inside and up on the 5 minute candle long.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and here are all the symbols that I'm watching.
So all of
And they're
these
all
are waiting for a one, or waiting for an
they're all
inside candle.
yeah, from Apple down, they're all waiting. And so,
Right.
at the it's sorted by the set of details. So the closer you are to the end, the higher priority it gets.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're also going to add our notifications. So, you can see these are all the notifications that have been running all day long.
Okay.
And,
So we're
and
a
you can
penny or
also,
two away. Sorry, we're
yeah, go
two
for
or three pennies away on EA and Mara. So
it. They're
okay,
just triggered.
okay, it triggered. Okay, there you go. All right, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So when it triggers, it comes down to your notification tab.
Okay,
And if you
and
had
is it now
email,
gone from the top window?
exactly. So the only one left is just EA Sports.
Okay.
Um, and if you had your user preference set and you had your, alerts and text messaging, etc., you could utilize that as well.
Okay.
Right. So you could get an email alert, a text alert. Okay. And, we'll just keep running through how I do it, and then we can, work with other ways to utilize the software as well.
Okay.
So what I have is I'll have usually around 6 charts. Okay, and I'm going to remove the add alert because I don't really need it. Oops, wrong one. And then, so I'll have my 6 charts. We'll move this one over here. Set it on one onto the time frame I'm trading, one onto the 60, one onto the day, and then one onto the week. Okay, and then another one I'll explain in a sec. So, fine, so I'll have these 6 charts open. Now, these 4 charts I leave over for the alerts themselves, and I'll explain that in a second. And then these 2 charts I leave for the S&P 500. Okay, so something that's really nice about alerts that, lets you kind of maneuver very, very quickly. So the charts update very, very quickly. You can update multiple of them at one time with a click. And then what's very important is to set the grouping correctly. So you can see that these are all grouped to 0. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want these 2 charts to always stay on the S&P 500. So I'm going to change the grouping. Okay, now the way that alerts works is that when you click an alert or you click a notification, it will update to the chart itself. So let's say I was curious, is AMC about to be an inside bar? I click on AMC, these 4 update, and these stays the same. So now I'm able to, you saw how quick that was, all 4 of those charts. Right. Now I'm able to very, very quickly cycle through a bunch of these names and have a general idea of what's going on with the market at all times.
Right.
So here are all, let's say I wanted to quickly take one of these, I can click on Facebook, it updates, and I can kind of get my general picture.
So I noticed, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just ticked over the next 5-minute candle, and now we have a bunch of inside candles, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And as they start to, trigger and everything, let's say you wanted to see ones that recently triggered, you not only can you click on, let's say, Apple to see where Apple's going, right, and update it and quickly make a decision based off of that. You can also check notifications. And so if I click on this notification here, this will now update. And I can see, right, which one just triggered. I can, then I can make decisions, etc., on Trade Unafraid and actually trade from there itself. So whenever you click on either of these items, it will update the charts. Unless you change, and if you don't want that to happen, you just change the grouping. You can set this up however you want. If you wanted to have, as I mentioned before, we're only doing the one candle pattern. So if you wanted to have one set for, 1 twos, and then you wanted to have another set for 2 twos, right? You can, I'll just add it down here. Let's add this alert. And
I
we'll
know
put
they
it,
don't happen as often, but what about a rev strat?
yeah, for sure. So let's work on that. We can demonstrate that as well. Okay, let's pull this back up here. So let's go, let's just load this up. And instead of going just 1, 2, we'll clear it and we'll go 1, 2 down, 2 up. Okay, and we're going to create the alert and we're going to tie it to, let's say, this name. Okay. And we're going to create it. And now we're going to set this to here. And once it actually finishes updating, then these should be added here.
Do you need a separate watch list for every alert type, or could you have added these rev strats to the existing window?
For sure. For sure. So if I was going to go, let's say daily trigger, I'll add these and I'll just choose this watch list right here, just for the sake of it. So one of the symbols I don't have here is ExxonMobil as an example. So I'll just add XOM. Oops. And then, yeah, we'll have to go and find it through here, but XOM will now show up over, or let me scroll up. XOM will, here it is. Now it's back into this chart over here.
Okay. So looks like a good opportunity. It's right at the top of the list.
Well, and being that I know that ExxonMobil, you can see here that it's towards the bottom of the daily range, but it gapped this morning down, so it's probably more of a go the other way setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just kidding, just because it happened to be randomly chosen and there it was. But
right. Maybe we'll go long. Okay, so all right, and then how I use it in conjunction with Trade Unafraid, I have a configuration, right, saved. I called it this. Kind of changed definitions over time, but set for an inside and up on the 5-minute candle. And I have to manually enter them, just not to my own personal preference. I want to choose the quantity before I make the trade, but that can obviously be preset. Candle trail, candle magnitude, those are my exits. Fine. And this is more of a trade. That would be more of a Trade Unafraid video, but so I have my template, and let's say we're about to, let's say I wanted to go long Etsy. So let's say I like this opportunity, just very simple opening break, 5-minute long Etsy, do 5 quantity in case it triggers. Pause it, and yeah. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. Let's do that again. So you see that, it's right, it's waiting for the 2 up in the 1, 2 up pattern. And yeah, so I save my configuration. I use alerts to kind of peruse and figure out, okay, what setups do I like? What should I be looking for? I check out this, I check out the setup right over here. Obviously, whenever we go in, what's the 60 doing? What's the day? Are we in inside candle? Is it, on and on and on? And then once I've made my, once I've done my analysis, then I just go and enter the trade plan over here.
Right.
And yeah. So I'll just say, like, the nicest thing, my experience, the nicest thing has been that I can easily peruse through a bunch of charts. I'll have Thinkorswim on one screen, and then I just have like a general idea from there, and then I quickly go here, see where everything is, because it's so difficult to make a decision, what's a good setup.
Yeah.
So I'm being directed, okay, where do I even look? It's very helpful.
Right.
Because there's just so much that goes into creating a setup. Where are the magnitudes, right? If you entered into any inside candle and up, if your pivot's, a mile away, that's a huge risk.
Yeah.
So every setup really takes time and research and effort, and to be able to go through so many so fast makes a ginormous difference.
Right.
Just on the alert side, forgetting even Trade Unafraid, being able to be in 5 of those positions while I'm researching what's going on in the market at one time.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
So you have the ability to get a text or an email, but it sounds like you purely use the UI for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it's a part of my active daily trading process.
Right.
So if I want to know about it as soon as it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would, just go up to here, put in your email address.
Yeah.
Here's my email.
But yeah, okay. It's interesting you're using it in a more interactive way rather than long-term alerts.
For sure, because for myself, I find that the charts update significantly faster than Thinkorswim.
Yeah.
It's giving me direct, direct attention towards the stocks that I should be looking at. What's currently an inside and up. Um, so for me, it plays an integral role in my actual trading itself. Like it's not like I use a different charting platform to decide when to get in. I'm just using Thinkorswim, to see what's currently an inside bar. So I just have like a little label under the bar, and then besides that, all the analysis happens over here.
Right. So I saw Etsy just triggered. Was like, what do you? How do you know that one of these things matters to you? I mean, is it about the longer term charts? Is that how you filter out what you care about and what you don't?
Yes, I mean, it's obviously a much longer discussion and it depends on simple things this time of day. Is it the stock actually, let's say the stock had a great earnings report and I have a longer term bias, that, or I should say that creates a more of a long bias that it's not going to end up reversing on me. But for myself, just the usual, right? Let's try and get this over here. As I said, the charts are update usually very fast. Looks my computer is failing me.
Yeah, well, I'm sure being on Zoom is not helping.
No, not a bit.
Mhm.
So just the usual, so where are we holding in the general market? Unless I believe that the stock, as I was saying, like it has an earnings report and the market's crashing and the stock is flying, that's obviously an overriding factor.
Yeah.
But what are we doing on the 60? What are we doing on the day? What are we doing on the week? If I cause, right, so for example, or I should say for example, right, so we're green on the week or on the day, on the 60-minute candle, it's an inside bar, a red inside bar, and what happens if this breaks? Where are my pivots? Okay, so if I were to take out these pivots, what does that do to the hour? What does that do to the day? That's just the process that is always going on in my head.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
and yeah, always try to trade with time frame continuity unless, you can easily see a setup that can, I don't want to say undo it. Like, let's say if you're red and, turn into green, but just for example here, it's, I shouldn't even say for example here, it's Micron's been pretty weak all day. But yeah, and there's also something that's very important is that if it's later on in the day, I want pivots to take out because I need the shorts to generate the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
People getting trapped to generate the momentum. If it's earlier in the day, I don't need as long. I don't need as many pivots.
Yeah.
For me myself, it's like been going from like I've been able to really expand what stocks I'm watching, I'm able to do much better research because there's just so much. If you're on Thinkorswim, none of the alerts are dynamic, right? So you always have to be aware on your own personal, watch what's going on.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, with this kind of, software, you can be watching 6 stocks, but it's directing you towards the 10 that are really, that really should be getting your attention.
Right.
Right. And that's, this is on my own personal experience, just using inside bar on the 5-minute candle. If you were to add things like a time frame continuity filter, if that was really important to you, you're slimming your list even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Good. That was very informative. Thank you.